All right, here we are, episode one of the MLB Rundown, or whatever we're going to end up calling this. Um,
I don't even know. What did I even call the last one?
I don't know, I don't think we called really anything. Basically, similar to the football one, this is going to be like just a preseason breakdown of teams for before the season starts, if the season ever starts. The general consensus is that baseball's going to happen this year. How long it's going to be, when it's going to happen, no one knows, but we'll wait and see what happens. I'm gonna do my best to kind of break down teams where they are and where I think they'll end up, and just like get, team strengths, weaknesses, see where they're at.
I did have a
So
thought, but I think I named the first episode at least is going to be named, I think, Arizona Cardinals draft recap because mine is focused on the draft more than anything else.
yeah, I CBA to do baseball draft, and then
Oh
that's
no,
not
that's
because
also about 80 rounds. So,
well, actually, this year's baseball draft is looking to be 5 rounds. Like that's how short they're gonna cut it off this season.
fuck, that's a bit
But
short in the
the
NFL.
baseball draft, the problem with the baseball draft is like it's not like the football draft. It's not like I don't even fucking care about hockey. I can't pretend to understand hockey. Like or like the NBA draft. It's like the NFL, NHL, NBA drafts all really impactful the first 1 to 2 to 3, even 3 rounds. Usually first 1 or 2 rounds. Those are really impactful picks. Those are like players who are going to be up and ready. Everyone who comes out of college or from high school is going to need to be in the minors for like a couple seasons. It's very rare you get someone like Juan Soto who's in the league at 19. And, every once in a while you get like a freak of nature like him who's able to, just break it in with the best of them really early on. But for the most part, people are going to be in the league for this is the minors for a few seasons. And
Yeah,
so baseball drafts, it's so hard to break down because a lot of these people could be great. But the fact is that there's no guarantees. Like the Houston Astros, fuck the Houston Astros, but like they had this one guy who best like
are we gonna do a video about
college
that? Should we
pitcher.
should we do a video about the whole cheating scandal? Do you have a? Are you
It's kind of
passionate
it's
enough to
kind.
do a video, or is it overdone at this point?
I feel like it's just like everyone's had their say. Everyone agrees they cheated. They're scumbags. Fuck them. They're pieces of shit. Rob Manfred's a coward, and anyone in Houston who says that other people did it, it's a shit defense, and you're a shit baseball fan.
Yeah, really quickly, I don't know if you saw my message earlier today. We could do kind of projecting out. Obviously, we're going to be busy the next few weeks doing our recaps and stuff. But it's looking like unfortunately this quarantine's not going anywhere, and so we could have a little while before there's more solid sports going on. We could do kind of like just small little debates. Like we could do a MJ versus LeBron debate, or we could do you're a baseball guy, so what's a baseball debate that people love that? Oh, I saw this one. Will the does the Astros title or do the Astros titles mean anything now? Or
No.
the, like
Debate. No.
I'm just saying that there's like other things that we can do. So I guess let us know down
No,
in the
yeah,
comments
no,
below
no.
if there's anything that uh you would be interested in seeing us debate about. I will say this. Um, I would love to do the LeBron MJ debate, but it would be a very short debate, and here's why. Matt is not a basketball fan by any stretch of the imagination, and I am one of the
No.
largest LeBron fans you will ever find. So it's a moot point because he wouldn't be able to contest anything because he would have a fact, and I would have 5 reasons why that fact is invalid, and then that would be the end of the conversation.
Yeah, it would be entirely pointless trying to convince you that LeBron is not as good as like anyone. Like it's just never gonna happen. But
Everybody's got their
back to
preferences.
where we started this whole thing because this is already going way too like this is supposed to be short. We're talking about nothing related to the
Yeah, fuck it, man.
Arizona Diamondbacks. So the reason why I decided to do Diamondbacks, figured Jeremy did the Cardinals, the Arizona. We'll stick with the Arizona theme. So the Diamondbacks are in a really interesting position coming into 2020. 2019, well, the 2018 offseason going into 2019, they trade Paul Goldschmidt, and then also Goldschmidt gets extended by the Cardinals. So Goldschmidt's gone from Arizona. Arizona is looking to basically go fire sale, and they trade, and then they kind of do this whole middling like holding pattern for the whole season, and then halfway through 2019, they trade away Zach Greinke, who is undisputably their best pitcher in years, and they trade him to the Astros for like 5 prospects. It was an awesome deal for the Diamondbacks because you get rid of a lot of salary that you're paying him. Who was, don't get me wrong, it's not like it's a bad contract. Greinke is worth that money, but getting back all his prospects when you're not winning, great. And then they started winning. They started winning a lot. And all of a sudden, it's like, wait a second, the Diamondbacks, who were entirely out of this race, are suddenly in the wild card chase. And so the Diamondbacks, thank God they didn't pull a Pirates and start spending money and
You
they
have a
started
problem with the
doing like
Pirates
half
there?
measures. Yes, the Urinating Tree had an amazing video on the Pirates. Yeah, shout out to channels like a million times bigger than us about how much they waste their time. 2018, the Pirates were doing really, really, really well for like couple weeks after having a kind of shit start to the season, and so ownership goes and sends Austin Meadows and Tyler Glass now to the Rays
Why do I recognize Austin Meadows?
because he's on the Rays and he annihilates pitchers.
Oh, there you
Um, and he's just fucking nasty. Awesome player. They trade away 2 really good players and prospects away for Chris Archer. I think the third one's actually, and the third person they traded away is like a top like prospect that's like about to make his major league debut, who like people like hyped up about. And so anyway, the Pirates like to do stuff like that where they entirely like overestimate themselves. The Diamondbacks took a very different approach. It's like, okay, I think we're scratching the surface of something here. Let's see what we can do. Let's see where we can improve, and let's just try to like not go entirely all in, but not like entirely sell ourselves out. So they're not in a position where if they don't win, if things don't turn out right, they're going to be screwed because they still have a strong farm system that they can build on. They haven't traded away their farm system. They managed to strengthen that core. And so what made the Diamondbacks suddenly like a kind of middle of the like kind of like a decent team? The first is their offensive production, and the biggest person you need to look out for on the 2020 Diamondbacks is going to be Ketel Marte. If you look at rotochamp.com, which is all projections, all like purely theoretical
Wait,
stuff here.
this? Hold up here.
Yeah, Ketel Marte became the best hitter on the Diamondbacks without a doubt last season. He became a power threat. He could field, he could bat, he could do everything. He was Superman last season. If he has something similar to that this year, the Diamondbacks have their star player to go to. Like they have like a solid bat in him. They have they traded in the offseason for Starling Marte from the Pirates. Though not he's a solid hitter, solid defender, just overall a really good player. Good, and they didn't lose a lot for him. And so they have like and they also have Eduardo Escobar, Nick Ahmed, and Christian Walker, who are solid to.
Was Eduardo Escobar an ex-Yankee? I recognize that name.
I
No,
don't
he's
think
not.
so.
No,
No,
he's
no,
not.
no.
He's not. Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Warren Nunez,
Oh, yep. Thank you.
who spent way more time on the Red Sox. By the way, fuck, the Red Sox are cheating too.
Where did they? I didn't see that one. What happened
Yeah,
there?
they got a slap on the wrist. They like suspended their
What did they do?
camera,
I
like their
only saw it.
replay
The Astros
operator.
one dominated the
I don't.
headlines.
The Red Sox one was not like as ridiculous as the Astros one, not as blatant, and it seemed to only be like primarily hitters like Mookie Betts and JD and Xander Bogaerts. Everyone who carried the Boston Red Sox in 2018.
What did they do though? Like, what was it?
They, I'm not gonna put a foot in my mouth and say the wrong thing here, but as far I don't remember the exact system they had, but they had some system where they basically knew it was coming,
Okay. So
and
same thing,
I don't know.
different way of doing it.
Same thing, different way of doing it. It wasn't everyone on the team doing it, and
Fair
so
enough.
it really takes away from like things like Mookie had this awesome 13 pitch at bat where he hit a go ahead grand slam, and at the end of it, like, oh well, actually you knew everything that was coming. Like, oh great, awesome.
Okay. Anyways, sorry, off track.
Anyway,
Back
sorry,
to Ketel
getting off topic
Marte.
again. So anyway, Ketel Marte and Starling Marte are really going to be the drivers of this offense because here's where the problems come over the Diamondbacks. That they have two really good players. The rest of them are middling to average on offense. None of them are like really average hitters. None of them are really power hitters. They have this like Christian Walker and Eduardo Escobar can hit a number of home runs, but they're never going to be like that guy that when he comes up, you know that he's got like a solid chance of going yard. And it's like they're good, but they're not great. And that's kind of the consistent theme with the Diamondbacks. They have really good potential, and they are good. It's just, are they good enough to get themselves over the hump into the playoffs this season? And the question, my honest to God answer at this moment is, I don't know. So for the second section, let's look at the starters. That's where the Diamondbacks made their big move this offseason. They signed Madison Bumgarner to a deal. Bumgarner,
What do you want me to click on here? What's going on here?
um, the picture of Bumgarner's signing, the other one. Yep. So they signed Bumgarner, and he like in his career, he's got like over 100 wins, 3.13 ERA, like career, lots of strikeouts, lots of all-star playoff stud.
Single-handedly did the Mets in the one time they were relevant. Sorry, I had to
Uh,
throw that in there. Fuck the Mets. Yankees fan gets to say fuck the Mets. Deal with it. We will make sure that we do our due diligence on the Mets. Just relax. Go ahead. Listen, man, I don't know anything about baseball, but I'm a Yankees fan, so I'm obligated
wait,
to
was that
say.
2014 or
I was
2015? The
I
World.
was still personally playing baseball, so I guess it would have had to be 2014 or 2015.
Nah, 2015 maybe in the and no, because 2015 the Mets made it to the World Series. No, that was
Uh,
2015. No, Madison Bumgarner had nothing to do with that. That was the Royals.
no, I swear they lost to
The Giants are in
Bumgarner.
the National League. They
Maybe it was the World Series then, but I
The
remember him.
2014 Bumgarner shut down the Royals. But
Oh, so
anyway,
I got my baseball history all kinds of fucked up then, isn't it?
yes, you do.
Because
So
here's the
anyway, we
thing.
could just
So
we
here's
just pretend you didn't say that. We
no
could just
no
move.
no. So here I'll explain. So my only baseball experience, right? Because I stopped following the sport when Derek Jeter retired. Full transparency, definitely bandwagon Derek Jeter fan. Stop following the sport after he retired. I only know what I hear. Like I listen to ESPN Sports Radio when I go to sleep when there's sports to talk about, right? And so the only thing I knew is I kept hearing them talk about Madison Bumgarner, and I assumed he must have been playing against the Mets because he wasn't playing against the Yankees, and why else would they be talking about him every night?
No. And the reason why is in 2014 he just had this amazing postseason. In the postseason in 2014, he threw 52 and two-thirds innings, and he had, in his World Series career, he has a .25 career World Series ERA, which are both MLB records.
Oh, there you
And
go.
so,
Right
so that's
idea,
why they're
right
talking about
concept, wrong
Madison.
team.
Huh?
Right concept, wrong team.
Yeah. So he's like, when he's on, he's dominant. And don't get me wrong, personality, he's kind of an asshole. He'll plunk batters for looking at him the wrong way, and you know, jerk off a little bit, like a little bit of a jerk off, a little bit of a jerk, whatever, a little bit of a jerk off. But still solid front. Definitely the best pitcher in that rotation. Definitely has like solid. Like that guy's just, you don't need to worry about him. You know, Madison Bumgarner's be Madison Bumgarner. They have Robbie Ray, who had a solid season last year, solid pitcher. Mike Leake, like contact. Not sure how he's going to perform. I can't really say Mike Leake's like really good at getting people to ground out, but also in a league that has balls being hit on the barrel every other time you get a hit. Like balls that get rocketed all the time. Like it's not necessarily a winning combination. But overall solid. Like he'll put up like a league average 4 ERA if like hopefully. But and then Luke Weaver, Zach Gallen, once again, more of the same problem with the Diamondbacks. They have some really bright spot. They had a bright spot, but then it just kind of gets back to this like, okay, but really what stands out here? Bumgarner stands out always, but does that mean he's going to stand out? When because Bumgarner is still like always really consistent. never has been like never ERA leader, never strikeout leader, never wins leader, never like the guy like really like he is like a really great pitcher, but is he enough to send like a pitching staff over the edge? And that the question, like really, my answer is no. He makes the pitching staff a lot better, definitely overall though. After Bumgarner, the next four total wild cards to me. They could be really good, but they could also just be kind of meh.
I was right. He did beat the Mets one year. Sorry, wrong year, 2016, and it wasn't in the World Series, but he did meet the Mets one year.
Okay, and that's probably why.
He had a complete game win. He gave up 4 hits, 6 strikeouts. I see. I wasn't completely losing my mind. I was kind of right. Just wrong. A complete game shutout, 2016. It was just a little miscalculation on the magnitude of the game. That's all.
Well, at least you have it all figured out now.
Yeah. So that I interjected for more than one reason. Um, Other reason was one thing I do remember when this signing first happened is it was a signing or a trade because there was
Signing.
it was a signing, right?
Signing.
He signed a big contract, a long one, right?
Fairly sure. Let's see. He signed a 5-year contract, 85 million.
So what are your projections on will he be worth the insane amount of money that they are paying him when he becomes 35 years old?
I'm gonna say yes because 17 million for a guy like that, it's definitely heavy. But I mean, let me just baseball reference this real fast. But like the guy's been so consistently good, barring him falling off a cliff. Like I don't see a world where Madison Bumgarner is like going to be a bad pitcher. Let's see, we got like last year. Like okay, last year was his worst year in the majors with a 3.9 ERA. But all his other seasons, like he's been so good. Like I just don't see it where he isn't.
He also pitched a lot more than he had in the previous 2 seasons. He was healthier, which is a good sign.
Yes, and that yeah, that is true. He has been healthier because 2018 he did miss a lot of time from injury. So um, but anyway, moving on to the bullpen. If you want to go back to that first page we were on and click on bullpen, perfect. Here's where the Arizona Diamondbacks get a little choppy. Their bullpen, and this is where almost every team has a problem. Bullpens always have holes. Bullpens, you just need so many pitchers, and like you're not everyone's gonna have a Tampa Bay, a New York Yankee, or a Dodger bullpen that are just loaded up with guys who can throw 100 miles an hour or could throw breaking balls that just move across like batter's box into the other batter's box, and like so not everyone's gonna have that. In this case, the Diamondbacks once again are just lacking someone who can really be that impact guy. Archie Bradley, solid reliever, decent closer. Never going to be like at least so far. Like he could have a breakout where he just starts cutting everyone down, but good pitcher who the Diamondbacks are going to have to rely on. The problem is when you have to rely on one guy so much, it just puts so much pressure on them. It's going to your performance isn't always going to be there. You got people like Junior Guerra who has been an average to slightly above average pitcher over the last few years, who maybe in like a permanent role in the bullpen can be more solid. Andrew Chafin, who's also a fairly good pitcher. You got like decent pitchers in the bullpen, but it's just not enough to really say the bullpen is a strength. It's definitely not a strength. It's definitely like lots of scotch tape holding the ship together with Bradley and Guerra and Chafin. So I'm not convinced on their bullpen at all. Onto their bench. Bench, eh. I mean, you have amazing people like Tim LaCastro, who, shout out to Foolish Baseball, man's just the fastest person in the MLB, who's a lot of fun to watch, but the bench is just It's whatever. It's a fine bench. These are guys you're not going to really. It's not going to matter as much as the other players. They're fine. That's what I like we said about them.
I feel like John Jay is a name I recognize almost.
John Jay has been in the league a lot of years, and he's a good player.
Drafted 2006. Oh my god.
He's playing since 2010.
He's 35. It's still astonishing to me that baseball players play for so long. After following sports like basketball and football, you very rarely see a player play for that long.
But yeah, John Jay is like he's like a replacement. Like some guy gets injured, you need someone to come up for a few games. John Jay will be that guy. He's got the experience. He's a solid player. Like he's not like great. He's not bad either. He's just he's good. He's fine. And the reason why you've heard about him recently is the White Sox, and they're trying to get Machado, signed him last year because he's married to like someone related to Machado. It's like Machado's brother-in-law or something. So, but yeah. Oh, so just in recap, because we've gone way over the time limit, I'm realizing I'm gonna need to start scripting myself for these.
Well, so here's what I'll say. I'll interject here for a second and give my take on it. I think that clearly by the lack of professionalism and how we're recording this, I think people can understand the fact that we are at the end of the day like exactly what this podcast started as, two New Jersey hotheads who are intent on getting their opinions out there. So I don't mind going over if there's as I'm getting an alert that my headset battery is about to die. It's important for me that we're authentic, so I don't mind adding time for the little banter or whatever. So don't feel like you have to cut yourself short. The saying that it was gonna be 5 to 10 minutes. I knew it was gonna be longer than 5 to 10 minutes, but it was more to just prove the point that we're not rambling for an hour, and you're nowhere near that. So feel free to do your thing.
Yeah, but just in summation for the Diamondbacks, good team. Just like a lot of things has to go right for them for me to really believe that they are going to make the wild card. I think they're in the running, but I think they're like middle of the pack. Like they'll be hovering around 500. I think RotoChamp doesn't give them enough credit for their hitting core. I think they're really underselling Ketel Marte and Starling Marte and Gordon Escobar, and they're underselling Bumgarner and Robbie Ray. But I'm putting if I had to guess, I'd say third place in the NL West is right. Like I don't see them doing exceptional unless they at this point in time. If the season started today, there was no roster changes and everyone did about what they were supposed to, I would say middle of the pack. Obviously things will change. Obviously I could be entirely wrong.
He's wondering what I'm zooming in on.
A couple months from now, but
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
Did they have somebody's thing reflected in the perfect? Like you ever play Super Smash Bros? Tell me that doesn't look like the little brawl thing.
It does, but why the hell are we here?
I'm sorry, man. It caught my eye.
Okay, moving on. But overall, I gotta give them for their off season, they made moves. They were better than most teams. Getting what they wanted. Gonna give them a B- for the off season. Overall for the team, I'm gonna give them a C+. It's just they're good. They're definitely league average and slightly above league average because of certain pieces, but they're not. I don't see them. I'm not sure they're necessarily in the wild card. So give or take that.
What would you say would be a mid-season trade, or maybe even a preseason trade, as they kind of get back into shape using whatever they do with the COVID-19 shortened season?
Trying to get rid of Cole Calhoun. I'm sorry, Cole Calhoun, amazing arm, great fielder. The guy's bat is just hemorrhages. It just hemorrhages. It's awful.
I don't even see him in the projected lineup. Am I blind? Oh, there he is.
He's been.
Oof.
If you look at his previous seasons, it's not pretty. 2019, 232 average, 208, 244. And 2019, he hit a lot of home runs. So if he can do something like that and add power, if he can hit 230 and hit like 30 something home runs, that'll add on to his value, obviously. But like, there's like, at the end of the day, I think he's a trade chip. I don't think he's necessarily going to be anything special on the team.
So you'd like to see them move Cole Calhoun. What do you think would be? Don't give you don't have to give me players, but would they be targeting bullpen arms? Would they be targeting?
Just in general, like who I think who are okay. Let me just break this up into two parts. Who I think they can trade, who I think that, and who I think what they think they should go for in return.
Okay.
Obviously, this depends on the situation of the season. If the season is going horribly, they're like their moves haven't paid off. It's not looking good. You know, then you can look into moving more than just Cole Calhoun. You look at like Robbie Ray was a big trade target last year for a lot of teams. You can get a decent return on him. You can move a lot of people around on this team. Mike Leake is a fine player for the like you could definitely trade him for a prospect or two. Like I don't see and from their prospect list, like they have some pretty decent prospects that you could probably trade. But just in general for who they should target, if they're in a good position, they're gonna be targeting bullpen. They need bullpen so desperately. Like Bradley can't do it on his own, and even Bradley's shaky at times. Like there's gonna be one person who comes out of this bullpen, and whoever that person turns out to be for their strongest bullpen arm, you can't have their arm falling off. They're gonna need help. You can't have a situation like the Brewers have with only having Josh Hader and no one else. Like so definitely bullpen is the key for the Diamondbacks trading, and maybe a starter. But the question is, do they have the resources? And that I'm not told if they have the resources for it. But that'll all be wait and see.
So quick side note from me, and then I think we can go ahead and wrap this up. To the viewers out there, I know Matt knows this. I played baseball for a lot of years, so I actually have baseball knowledge in terms of how the sport is played, but I don't follow the sport at all. So, because I realized before I couldn't even tell you, begin to tell you anything that happened in baseball within the past like 10 years, because, I mean, for Christ's sake, I was talking about the two NL teams being in the World Series together. And then, I pull out something like bullpen arms, like I know what that means. So, yes, I played baseball for a lot of years. No, I don't actively follow the sport. Maybe Matt over here can get me back into it, but I have a base knowledge of how the sport works. I'm not a complete idiot. I just I defer to the expert on this one. You have anything else to add, Matt?
I think that's fair.
That's fair. All right.
Yeah.
So, is there anything closing statements?
You can be a hell of a lot more excited about the Diamondbacks than you can for the Cardinals.
Oh,
The Arizona Cardinals. The football.
You're not wrong. The Cardinals are in a sad state of affairs, man. Let's say overall it's a rough time to be a sports fan in Arizona. Let's just put that out there now.
Has it ever been a good time outside of 2001?
I mean the Phoenix Suns were good for a little while.
You say the word Phoenix Suns, and I like it. It's like, oh yeah, that's a team. Like that's the first.
Don't forget the fact that they had a pretty good 1-2 duo with MVP Steve Nash and Amari Stoudemire back in the day.
I don't
That's
know
so
why.
long
Like
ago.
at the beginning of the season, like just getting notification, like what the fuck, the Phoenix Suns won a game.
No, bro,
And
Devin Booker is. They have a really okay.
Devin Booker's a
I'll save
monster.
basketball for another team, but I'd say if you're a fan in Arizona right now, I'd say the team that has the brightest future, in my opinion, with my limited knowledge of baseball, I don't know how the Diamondbacks are looking going forward, but I would say you've got a much better future prospect in the Suns than you do in the Cardinals. Cardinals, I have no idea what they're going to be able to do. It's gonna completely come down to um, a lot of things that I'll talk about in another video. But for right now, I'll let this end because that's not the topic of this video. Um, Anything else you want to say, closing, or we'll
No,
do
I
a
think that's it. I think it's 5 o'clock in the morning and it's Mother's Day and I need to sleep before my mom
yeah.
before my so I can make breakfast for my mom in like 2 hours.
All right, well then we'll go ahead and head out. In typical S fashion, it is 5 a.m. as he just said. So we'll be having another 2 videos out tomorrow on Tuesday. And I don't know what teams are next, and I'm not gonna look it up right now because we're on the way out the door. But go ahead and listen, man. It's all very raw. We're trying to stay as realistic as we can. So go ahead and subscribe and pop on over to the Discord. The link will be in the description below. We've also got a Twitter that Matt runs and an Instagram that I run, and by run I mean own and don't use anything on. So that'll be something that we may or may not pick up at some point going forward. But go ahead and subscribe and go ahead and join our Discord and come on up and come and say hi. Closing statement from Matt.
I think that closing statement. I got the chance to trash shit football teams.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. So with that being said, I guess we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.
See y'all later.